Hi, this is Worth Godwin, worthgodwin.com. Plain English simplicity for a complex modern world. In this video, I want to talk a little bit about a simple step you can take to better protect your privacy online. And that is using a different search engine. Don't use Google, don't use Bing, but instead use something called DuckDuckGo. Now, DuckDuckGo is a search engine that is a competitor to Google and Bing. So here's the thing though, when you're using a search engine, especially if you're using Google, well, Bing is about as bad, I'm sure. Microsoft owns Bing, just to be clear, if you're not aware of that. Those companies are collecting information about you. The way that Google works, the way that Google makes money is by collecting information about you. And they do it, they then can sell to advertisers to target their ads. And basically the more information they can collect about you, the more money they make. And that's your trade-off for using a free service like that. So there's more often than not these days, anytime that there is a service that is totally free, where they don't have, like for example, I have free information on my website, but I do charge for material. You can buy course material, you can buy memberships and so forth. That's how I make my living. That's how I keep a roof over my head, food on my plate, and keep my website going, is by money I make from selling more, in-depth course material, while still giving away some degree of information for free. That is not the same thing as what Google does, or say Facebook, where all they do is they give you a free service, but it's not a no strings attached kind of thing. They are collecting as much information about you as they possibly can. I, on the other hand, I don't collect information beyond the minimum that's needed to place an order on my website. Obviously, I need to collect information for that, because how can you place an order if you don't fill out some information? And you can't create an account on my website without giving me your email address. But of course, I don't share that information with anyone. It is strictly for the purpose of me sending you more information and teaching you. And yes, I do occasionally offer something for sale, but all the same, the basic function is for me to contact you, and I do not share that information with anyone. Google, on the other hand, or Facebook, or any number of other free services, they collect as much as they can, specifically to sell it. And they build as much of a profile. The more detailed profile they can collect, the more valuable it is, the more valuable you are to them, I should say. And the search engine is no different. Not only is Google trying to collect information about you, and they do this particularly effectively if you have an account with them, like if you're using Gmail, they're actually reading your email, not a person, but they have software that reads it, and they target ads based in part on what you're writing about. And of course, as we know these days, they are also passing on information to the NSA and other governments in other countries, presumably UK and elsewhere, that tells the government, who isn't really into their business, but they tell them who you're talking to, and they share that kind of information. But when you're doing a search, Google, for example, remembers every search you ever made. And even if you're not signed into a Google account, they still keep track of it, and they say this particular computer at this location has been doing a search about this, etc. And they remember all that, and they do their best to relate it to you. And they try to say, okay, this is John Smith, or this is Janet, whatever, so, and they try to find out who you are, and they try to get you to have an account with them, because then they can have your name, and then they can start correlating the search information even more specifically to you. Not only are they building that, remembering what you searched for, and then what you've clicked on specifically, but they also, there's an additional problem, is that they share that information with other parties. And I don't just mean they remember all the searches you do, and then when you have ads on the side of the search results, Google AdWords ads, those are targeted to your search, and they're targeted to you. But also, if you go to a website and you do a search for something, you click on a link, it takes you to that website. In the process, Google informs the website typically of what you searched for. And that information very frequently is then passed on to any third parties who may be advertising on that website. And so suddenly there's all these people who know exactly what you search for. DuckDuckGo does not do that. They don't pass that information on. They do record a history of searches, but they do it in an anonymous fashion. Remember that they're your searches. They just say all the searches that everybody makes, we keep track of that so that we can fix spelling mistakes and give better suggestions, but they don't try to tie it to you. And that's the big difference between them and like Google or Bing or what have you. But I start with DuckDuckGo. Then if I can't find that, I go to Bing. Bing is owned by Microsoft, and it's a fairly decent search engine. But I don't use any other Microsoft services. Whereas it's really hard to avoid using any Google services. YouTube, for example, is a Google's own service. So if you use Google or use YouTube, then you're using Google anyway. And there's not really any way to avoid that. But so I go to DuckDuckGo first, then I go to Bing if I can't find what I want on DuckDuckGo, although usually I can find just fine what I want on DuckDuckGo. And then if I really can't find it on Bing either, then I go last to Google. And this is the exact opposite of what most people do. Most people go straight to Google. Occasionally, depending on who they are, they might go straight to Bing, but then they don't go anywhere else. And a lot of that is because people don't realize that there are alternatives, and they also don't realize some of the downsides to using those main services. So I highly encourage you to check it out, DuckDuckGo.com. It works just like any other search engine. You just type what you want to look for and hit the search button, or hit the return or enter key on your keyboard. And it's a little more private. It's a lot more private than Bing or Google is. So hope that helps. And remember, do everything you can to protect your privacy, because there are so many companies out there that they're just trying to profit off of you. And if the service is totally free and there's no paid option and there's ads, pretty much guaranteed that it is not looking out entirely for your interests. DuckDuckGo is an exception. It does not collect information about you. It does not have ads, but what it does do is it sometimes makes a little money from a referral by sending you to Amazon or to someone else who they are an affiliate of, and that's how they make their money. And that understanding how the companies that you use, the services that you use, how they make their profit, like how does Facebook make its money, for example, it's very important to understand that as well for your privacy. So I hope that all helps and makes sense. If you've got questions, please let me know what they are. I want to make further videos and more information to help you guys out and help you guys stay safe and private on the internet. Once again, this is Worth Godwin, worthgodwin.com, plain English simplicity for a complex modern world. Thanks for watching.